What's going on, Hot Ones fans? This is Sean Evans checking in from the Museum of Curiosities. It feels like it's been forever since we've had a chance to connect. By now you know the drill. After every season, we open up the phone lines for your hard-hitting, end-of-season fan questions. And boy, did you guys deliver this year. From the YouTube, from the Facebook, from the Instagram, you guys gave us your Season 17 questions. And now, right now, it's time to answer them. Put my feet to the fire. Put me in the hot seat for once. And we're just a Dom slide of the bucket away from kicking this thing off. On cue. Look at that. Diving in to the bucket of questions. And we begin with Jonay Murocheski. Curious to what or who motivates you on a daily basis? Do you have a North Star, or are you more of a self-motivated individual? So the number one principal motivating factor in my life is a fear of humiliation. And then the other thing that motivates me is respect for people's time. And when I say people's time, I mean respect for our guest time and respect for our audience's time. So between those three things, you want to make sure that you make the most of your time with the guest. If they agree to sit down and eat scorching hot chicken wings with you, you should meet them halfway on what's hopefully a thoughtful and considered interview. And then for the audience's time, you go through all of that and then you hope you can deliver on a product that's worth watching. So between those three things together, that is all the battery pack in my back that I need to stay motivated. So very good question. And that's the answer. All right, up next, from Michael Keniston. Do you have alternate questions you can ask based on how the celebrity is handling the sauces? So I really like this question, and yes, there's quite a bit of sort of lever pulling. There's some audibles that are called in-game action all the time. So if a guest is really struggling with the sauces and struggling to connect and focus through the interview, then you might switch to asking more direct questions with less elaborate context. You know what I mean? Just kind of simplify things as they're just hanging on by a thread. But then the other side of that is sometimes you can crank things up. So if a guest is really leaning into the interview, is really engaged, you can tell that they're being very generous in the interview, then you might crank it up a few notches. The Matt Damon episode, for example, when we had him put his Mount Rushmore of movies that he's been in, we had another Wing 10 question there, but he was leaning so much into the interview that I'm like, maybe we can take this shot right here. Or having Justin Timberlake rank his albums. That was another one where we had a different Wing 10, and then you're like, this is going really well. They're leaning into this. I think that we can take this swing. Which brings up another point, which is like the Wing 10 sometimes. Naturally, they turn into this sort of post-mortem on the experience as a whole. Dave Grohl in this season, for example. Also, Josh Brolin in this wing, for example. So when the experience is kind of it's encapsulated in this nice, pretty package, then you won't just like, all right, well, this was so lovely. Let's stop, pause, change the energy. I now have a question that I want to ask you. Here comes your answer. If Russell Brand just busts out in song, then you just end on a high note. This camera, this camera, this camera. Let the people know what you have going on in your life. Good question. All right, up next. If Sean could be interviewed by anybody, who would he choose? Off the top of my head, I'm not exactly sure who I'd choose to interview me all time, but there's some new shows that have been popping up in the space that have really impressed me with the way that they're done, the concepts, the personalities involved. So if I could just shout some people out, Andrew Callahan, All Gas, No Breaks formerly, now Channel 5 News, doing amazing work. Chicken Shop Date, shout out to my girl Amelia. I love that show. Caleb Presley with like the Sunday Conversations and these field pieces that he's doing. Also awesome. And then Speedy, my boy Speedy Mormon, having himself a great couple years here. And then, who's highly underrated as a podcast host and interviewer is Pete Holmes. Like when I listen to that Pete Holmes podcast, I'm always like, wow, that was like an amazing interview every time I listen to one. People don't talk about Pete Holmes enough as being like one of the great interviewers of our time, but shout out to Pete Holmes. Thank you for the question. Just wanted to shout those people out. All right, up next, from Matthew P. How long do you think your body can do this for? Here's the way I look at it. Ray Lewis played 17 years for the Baltimore Ravens. What I do, there's obviously a physical toll to it, but is it more physically harmful? Is it more dangerous than playing 17 years in the NFL, playing linebacker at a high level? I don't think so, or at least I'll take my chances. Like if Ray Lewis can put together 17 seasons in the NFL, well, certainly I should be able to eat scorching hot chicken wings once a week for 10 years or 11 or 12 or 15, or maybe I can hit that 17 mark. So I don't really know how long I'll last. I do keep an eye on it. I do hit the doctor, but everything's going good. And I do love everything about what I'm doing right now. And I love the show. And I love the people I make the show with. And I can't imagine what my life would be like without it at this point. So, as long as I hold up and as long as people care, then I think I've got some more years of doing this. And at least I hope I have more years of doing this. And like I said, Ray Lewis, if he can play 17 years in the NFL, why can't I do 10 or 15 or 17 hosting Hot Ones? That's the way I look at it. Am I a moron? Maybe. All right, up next, from Germ.
Wait, hold on.
Hold on.
All right, they seem to want me to go in for the truth or dab game and answer a question out of the truth or dab game. So here we go. All right. Truth or dab? I don't see any wings here, so I guess I'll be forced into truth. What's the best prank you've ever pulled off? All right, I do actually have a decent prank. So one time I had a buddy who was getting married, and it was like a very high stress, lots of moving parts kind of wedding that they were gonna put together. So we were like, let's prank phone call our friend. So what we did is we downloaded an app that would allow you to change your number, and then we had the voice changing thing on it. So I changed my voice to a girl's voice, changed the number to where they were having their rehearsal dinner at, this place called the Carriage House. And the concept for the prank phone call was I was gonna pretend like I was calling from the Carriage House and that they double booked the Carriage House. So I call this guy up, I'm like, oh, I have really bad news. We've actually double booked your rehearsal dinner. Like, he no longer has a venue. And then basically I had a series of sort of plan Bs, little ways that I could kind of take care of this problem, but none of them would work. Like, I was like, well, we have this room called the Chestnut Room. Unfortunately, it's a dry room and we can only serve soda and iced tea and water. Does that work? And then this dummy, he would cover up the phone and be like, hey babe, so they have a dry room where they can only do soda, iced tea, and water, and then just hear her, just Tasmanian devil going nuts. That's when he snaps back in, like, no, that won't work. And then I'd be like, okay, well, we also have another room. It's the Coach House room. Unfortunately, though, it only seats 60 people, so 40 of your guests are gonna have to eat in the hallway or outside. Then he'd be like, okay, cool. Hey, babe, so they have this other room, the Coach House room, but it only seats 60, so we'll have to come up with a list of 40 people that have to eat outside. And then she's going nuts, and then that's when he starts to put his foot down, and he's yelling at me, how can you do this? This is so unprofessional. We're 2 weeks away, all of this stuff. And then I just said to him, wow, dude, I'm really bending over backwards for you. Not sure why you're being such a butthole. And then I held the phone up like this. It was on speaker. I had 4 friends around me. And he just goes, very indignant, did you just call me a butthole? And the whole room exploded. Top 5 hardest I've ever laughed in my life. So there's a little prank story for you off the top of my head. All right, we're almost to the bottom of the bucket here. Let's see. Germ. We got to pick up with Germ. What was the inspiration for the voice you used to make fun of fans with dumb questions or complaints? I find it very enjoyable when you rip into people like that. All right, so this voice, blah, blah, blah. So it started because it's just how back when I used to read Reddit comments, the Reddit comments in my internal, the internal voice in my head sounded like that. It's just the way they talk, kind of am I the only one who's disappointed in the fact that it's got a certain a certain thing to it. I don't know. It's a certain curmudgeonly emotional thing. There's a certain note that is very specific to Reddit comments. So when I'd read the comments back to Chris, I would read them in that voice. So that's kind of where it came from, and then it stuck. And then I think the reason it connects is because everybody kind of sees that. But shout out to Reddit. Big part of why this show blew up in the first place. Shout out to the Hot Ones subreddit. Shout out to the Hot Ones subreddit. No disrespect. All in good fun. You guys do kind of sound like that, though, sometimes. All right. Almost to the bottom of the bucket. This is from Jack Taroni. Do you have a favorite event or attraction that you like to promote when you were working as a copywriter for the Chicago Tourism Board? All right, so in addition to actually doing that, I was also a tour guide on the Chicago River. Shout out to Chicago's First Lady and the Chicago Architecture Foundation. So that was a tour that I did for like 6 years, like all the way through college and everything. I would just be on the river just delivering tours. So if you'd like, real quick, here's my Mount Rushmore of Chicago buildings on the architecture tour, all right? I like the Civic Opera Building, 333 Wacker, Cohn, Pedersen, and Fox. Love the contextualism, love the backstory. I also love Tribune Tower. I love the Wrigley Building. I'll kind of connect those because they're right across the street from each other. They're on Wacker. And the Leo Burnett Building. Those are, I think I listed 5, but my Mount Rushmore buildings on an architectural level that I used to love seeing every day and talking about on the architecture tour. And shout out to Choose Chicago as well. There we go. Nathan Potts asks, what are your feelings after a heartwarming episode, especially end credit scene with Dave Grohl? I actually did stay that week. I went to the premiere, got to go to the Foo Fighters concert the next night. There was a moment that Dave actually took the mic and he goes between songs, he goes, last night I got to do my favorite show of all time and woke up at 1 o'clock in the morning with a rumble in my stomach and shit my fucking brains out. And then the whole crowd went crazy. And then he goes, so this next song is dedicated to Sean from Hot Ones. Then he did Shame, where like during the chorus he'd be like, shame, shame on you, Sean, shame on you, Sean. And then the whole crowd was going, shame on you, Sean, shame on you, Sean. So it was an unforgettable experience. The shoot, one of the most memorable of my life. Dave's such a soulful guy, instant connection, everything about it is amazing to me personally, as it felt like for you watching it, the way it translated on and off camera was absolutely amazing and a treasure. And rest in peace to Taylor Hawkins. Shout out to the Foo Fighters. Shout out to Dave. Amazing, life-changing, shifting moment for the show and for me personally. So can't get better than that. All right, well, there it is, the bottom of the bucket. We are almost ready to roll curtains, but before we do that, we need to check in on Camera Guy Bill. Camera Guy Bill, he's always staying busy during the off season. It is time to check back in with him. Bill, what is going on in your world?
Oh, hey there, Sean. I've got big build plans for this off season. As you know, I've been working on my mixology skills, and I've decided to level it up a bit this time. And that's why I brought in spicy cocktail expert Rico from Absolute to show me how to make a drink that'll bring the heat into next season. Rico, thank you for being here.
Bill, thank you for having me here. Very excited.
I'm very excited to have you here.
Shall we make some drinks?
Let's do it.
This is the hot as shit michelada.
Well, that sounds absolutely terrifying. Where's the inspiration for this drink come from?
Not from your dad jokes, but the inspiration just comes from the show.
Okay.
Shall we get into making this drink then?
Let's do it.
You're gonna make one alongside me.
Okay.
You're not just standing around watching.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, so let's take a little plate. And what we've got is some salt, some fresh ground Szechuan peppers. And then we can go straight in to just decorating. You'll see that you get some on the inside.
Yeah.
So if you want to get rid of that, you can just...
Ooh, science.
And then you just got that nice little rim across the top. So the glasses are prepped. Now we can start to like build the drink. So we're gonna start 1 ounce of lime juice. We're gonna put that in straight like that.
Ooh. Splash zone.
I'm known as Spill King on my show, so that's fine, that's happened.
It's okay.
Next up, we want to take Absolute Original vodka.
Gotcha.
And we want equal parts to what the lime juice is, so stick 1 ounce in.
1 ounce. Yeah.
Nice. Good pour.
Look at that.
Next up, it's the real one. It's the last dab. So let's take a bottle each.
You gotta do the Sean shake.
Sean shake.
Sean shake! This is the Sean shake moment. Okay.
So, we want to go...
Oh man.
2 drops.
2 drops?
2 drops.
That's a drop.
And now we want to shake this.
Okay.
So we want to get some ice. You want to get as much ice as possible into the shaker. Give it a good shake. Nice.
I got it.
That's good. So now what we want to do, we want to ice up our glasses.
So I just pour?
Just go in. can see how much more last dab I got in there. So next up, we want to get a nice light beer. Give it a little second to rest. And that's it. There you have it. That's the hottest shit michelada.
Well, all I know is these look great, and I know I'm gonna drink a michelada of these over break. See what I did there? Check out Absolute Drinks with Rico on YouTube for more excellent drink creations. Rico, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Cheers to you.
Cheers, Bill.
Cheers to the Spice Lords.
Cheers to your Spice Lords.
And Sean, I think you're gonna wanna try one of these.
Well, cheers to you, Bill, and cheers to you watching this. Thank you so much for rocking with us now through 17 seasons, and cheers to season 18. We'll see you soon. Hey, what's going on, Hot Ones fans? This is Sean Evans, and they said we were crazy. They said we were nuts. A hot sauce for kids, they said it wouldn't. It shouldn't be done. Well, guess what? We did it anyway, and now we're doubling down. We started with the green, say hello to Hot Ones Junior, the yellow. The yellow is a super mild hot sauce with sweet tropical heat from mango, pineapple, and Scotch bonnet pepper. Whether you're a parent, child, or just want a super mild sauce, this is the sauce for you. And if you want to be the first person to try it, the April Hot Ones subscription box is where you'll find it. Sign up by April 15th, heatness.com, heatness.com, heatness.com to sign up and order the yellow.